Take my hand, yeah, take my hand. Follow me, follow me, yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
Happy Saturday, digital family. I am fresh off a vacation where I just spent 4 days on an island being entertained by the orchestra of the ocean. Best musical ever. I still smell like premium sativa and good rest, but I am recharged and ready to talk about the latest episode of Atlanta season 3 called Rich Wigga, Poor Wigga. I already know from the name alone that we're in for another standalone episode. There's going to be an offshoot social commentary piece that's going to take us away from the crew and focus on the many layers that don't exist within the melanin experience. But before we dive into these deep, uncomfortable waters, please subscribe, like, and share so we can grow the community and make the conversations even better. Okay, my initial observations. I like how this one was shot in black and white with kind of a modern setting. I thought it was a great way to further highlight the differences between the two racial realities they were trying to cover. It really sets the tone for the events that do transpire down the road. I also like that the characters that are not receiving the scholarship money know and clearly understand the perspectives of the ones that did. They clearly mention that this has happened in the past or has happened in the past, and they even suggest taking legal action. But it just goes to show you that the general public is fully aware of when they're being treated with indifference or being minimized. But for some reason, they can't have that same clarity when it relates to people of color. I just thought this was interesting and very accurate. Okay. Let's jump into the deep end of the pool. The writers cover a lot of layers with this one. The focus is really around those that are biracial, specifically a mixture of maybe black and white, and the choices they make between the two worlds that they're a part of. It also touches on what it means to be Black enough in America. And apparently there's some stuff you need to know in order to be considered Black. We'll get into that a little bit later. It's hilarious. Our main character, Aaron, or Aaron from our Key and Peele fans, is biracial. He has a very active Black father and has, they kind of alluded that his mother was of another race, more than likely white, but they didn't specifically say it was white. But we're going to make that assumption for the point of this conversation. Aaron's skin tone and hair gives him the ability to present as a young white male or young white man. He further solidifies that assumption by not embracing any of his Black identity in any way, but also choosing to distance himself from his Black community and only aligning himself with his white classmates. He also seems to have deep self-hatred wounds, or deep wounds of self-hatred, I should say, as we do get some glimpses into his mind state. For example, when he's playing a video game, he begins to racially taunt his opponents with no regard to how hurtful his words are, or it also being applicable to himself, as well as his father, who clearly loves him as well as his community. So I just wanted to paint a picture of this young man. Like, Aaron is technically a man of color that is being very insensitive to the reality of racial profiling, because he knows that the likelihood of him being in that situation is slim to never because of how he presents himself. So this is the young man that's at the nucleus of this story. So Aaron and the other seniors are at the threshold of graduating, and everyone is looking to solidify their post-high school plans. Aaron and his friends are looking to attend the same university, but he seems to be the one that's having the most trouble, getting his upcoming financial situation financed. His father made it very, very clear that he, if he wanted to attend this university, that he would need to raise the funds on his own. Well, as luck would have it, the school principal called a meeting one morning for all the graduating seniors. And during that assembly meeting, you remember assembly meetings when we were kids, weren't they like the best? You were like super hyped up just to go to this meeting. Anyway, during this assembly meeting, they had a guest speaker played by the late Kevin Samuels, rest in peace to that gentleman. A successful businessman is what he played, and he was an alumni of that particular high school. He donates some money to the school and is taken, straight from the real life headlines when they say he decides to pay for all of the college tuition for all the graduating seniors that are Black. This was the twist. So this announcement sets off a series of events that are funny, but also super alarming at the same time. It wasn't enough that you had to present as Black, but you also had to answer a series of questions to determine your Blackness. So they held Black auditions in the gym. All types attended. Some were getting cornrows, others were practicing the robot, while another group of kids were singing Shy, If I Ever Fall in Love, the a cappella version in the hallway. Didn't be high vibes for real. Anyway, classic Wu-Tang t-shirt sightings. It was truly a diverse, cookout atmosphere, what they had going on. They had to audition to be Black. Hilarious, hilarious. Anyway, Heron was faced with a dilemma. In order to get the scholarship, he would need to expose or embrace the fact that he's Black, but he also really doesn't know much about his culture or his community that he's been around there. As expected, he had to take the Blackness test, and he failed miserably. He failed all the Blackness questions, and he truly got a chance to see what it felt like to be minimized and set aside simply just for being, AKA the Black experience. You know, that thing his father is always talking about. So the real brilliance in this story is really around the guest star. Once again, they've done really well with the guest stars, Liam Neeson, and now, of course, Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels made a name for himself by really judging and generalizing people, and his character pretty much did the same thing with these students. The writers are always bringing guests in that truly fit the narrative they're looking to tell. So the Blackness questions were also very well done because it further drives home the point of what is being or acting Black enough, like a way to laugh at ourselves for putting each other in this little box and assuming that whatever is in that space quantifies the depth of our Blackness. Henny is not for everybody, and everybody didn't grow up in stereotypical Black church. We are all different, man. Anyway, it was a really fun story that captured kind of the day-to-day experience of someone that might be biracial, but has the ability to present or code switch to their advantage, as well as what it's like to be considered Black in America. Presentation is not confirmation, and those that have the ability to toggle between the worlds also have a responsibility to be mindful of the choices they make and the attitudes that they do embrace. It's, I feel, a call to action as well around understanding that being Black is more than what you're wearing or your knowledge of popular culture. It's a state of being that goes way beyond pigmentation. Very fun conversation piece. Tell me your thoughts. Are you into the offshoot episodes? Are you kind of over it at this point? Do you think the writers got this one right, or are they way off in terms of their interpretation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and what you're talking about. Let me know what you thought of the episode. See you next week. Take care.